What happens when a billion-dollar automaker insists that no one beyond their factory walls possesses the skill to dismantle a hypercar, only to watch an independent builder prove them spectacularly wrong from inside an ordinary garage? A quiet revolution is unfolding across the elite automotive world as Matt Armstrong shatters established beliefs and confronts Bugatti's authority armed with nothing more than raw skill, relentless determination, and unflinching willingness to challenge the impossible. This isn't merely a story about expensive cars or mechanical prowess. This is a fundamental battle over control, freedom, and the critical question of who truly owns the knowledge required to repair and rebuild the machines we purchase with our own money. In a modest garage far removed from the polished showrooms and climate control facilities of luxury manufacturers, Matt Armstrong accomplished what industry insiders and corporate executives repeatedly claimed could never be done. He successfully split the monocoque structure of a Bugatti Chiron, one of the most complex and sophisticated hypercars ever engineered. This wasn't some quick cosmetic repair or superficial maintenance task. Armstrong meticulously documented every step of a comprehensive process that systematically dismantled one of the world's most intricate automotive achievements, using tools readily available to independent mechanics anywhere. His accomplishment directly contradicted public declarations from Bugatti's own chief executive, who had emphatically insisted that such delicate and intricate structural work could only be performed safely within the manufacturer's own specialized facilities under controlled conditions. The implications of Armstrong's breakthrough extend far beyond a single vehicle or one determined builder working alone. What elevates this achievement from impressive to genuinely revolutionary isn't just the technical skill Armstrong demonstrated, but what his success represents in a larger conversation about automotive ownership and control. Armstrong didn't enjoy factory support, privileged access to proprietary diagnostic tools, or insider connections to secure rare components. Instead, he relied entirely on exhaustive research, creative resourcefulness, and sheer stubborn determination to dismantle and deeply understand a vehicle that few people outside the manufacturer's inner circle had ever been authorized to touch. His success struck a profound nerve throughout the automotive industry, illuminating the rapidly growing demand for genuine autonomy in vehicle repair and maintenance. This singular challenge became a watershed moment that resonated with millions of viewers watching his detailed video documentation unfold. It transformed Armstrong from a talented automotive enthusiast into a powerful symbol of resistance against the monopolistic control manufacturers exert over repair knowledge and replacement parts distribution. Millions of viewers followed Armstrong's methodical approach and appreciated his clear, accessible communication style, watching him prove conclusively that even the most sophisticated and complex vehicles could be serviced and rebuilt independently. The narrative carried undeniable power because it demonstrated that manufacturers don't hold exclusive, mystical control over fundamental mechanics of their own creations. Armstrong's project transcended simply debunking Bugatti's technical claims. It raised urgent ethical questions about the practice of artificially restricting repairs and tightly controlling access to replacement parts. Why should complex machinery be so jealously guarded and wrapped in legal restrictions that independent experts cannot maintain or rebuild them? This broader question strikes directly at the heart of the right to repair movement currently reshaping industries across the globe. Armstrong provided this movement with a tangible, high-profile, and highly visible example that directly challenges entrenched corporate resistance to transparency and access. The ambitious scope of his work compelled viewers everywhere to fundamentally rethink conventional assumptions about the barriers manufacturers deliberately erect around their products. His videos built a compelling case demonstrating that knowledge, patience, and skill could effectively overcome corporate-imposed limitations, and his documented results spoke far louder than any corporate press release ever could. Beyond the dramatic wrench turns and careful precision cuts, Armstrong's sustained efforts embody a meaningful pushback against an entire system that has traditionally limited who can work on these extraordinary machines. This pivotal moment isn't just about one expensive car being successfully split apart in a garage. It signals a genuine shift in ownership expectations and consumer empowerment that manufacturers can no longer afford to ignore. While the story initially remained confined within dedicated automotive enthusiast circles, Armstrong's work rapidly captured global attention and sparked widespread conversation. It wasn't only car lovers who followed the unfolding saga with rapt attention, but also advocates from consumer rights organizations, independent mechanics fighting for survival, and passionate supporters of repair freedoms across all industries. The narrative transcended the vehicle itself, evolving into a powerful symbol of individuals pushing back against rigid corporate control structures. Armstrong effectively became David facing down a Goliath wielding enormous financial, tactical, and legal power. Yet despite achieving remarkable success and attracting growing community support, Armstrong remained consistently measured and respectful in his public communications. His approach stayed relentlessly precise, carefully avoiding personal attacks or cheap sensationalist rhetoric. Instead, he allowed his meticulous work and undeniable results to build an overwhelming case that challenged the comfortable status quo. This professional posture allowed him to occupy a unique position of both moral and technical authority in an increasingly heated debate with Bugatti and the wider automotive industry. This mounting tension between individual ingenuity and corporate control became even more apparent with recent calculated moves from Bugatti's parent company, signaling a subtle but potentially significant shift in their public communication strategy. For years, Bugatti's official position had been to strictly restrict certain complex repairs and comprehensive rebuilds exclusively to their network of authorized service centers worldwide. The company's chief executive had publicly and repeatedly declared that dismantling something as structurally intricate as the Chiron's carbon fiber monocoque frame anywhere outside their highly specialized factory facilities was genuinely impossible and, by clear implication, dangerously unsafe for both the vehicle and anyone attempting such work. This carefully maintained position simultaneously reinforced the rarefied exclusivity of the Bugatti brand and tightened the company's iron grip over lucrative after-sales service operations, effectively creating an impenetrable barrier that jealously guarded proprietary knowledge and replacement parts from any independent access. Such sweeping claims conveniently helped justify truly exorbitant pricing structures and complete service monopolies that have long surrounded Bugatti ownership. These authoritative assertions were consistently bolstered by corporate statements emphasizing serious liability concerns and legitimate safety issues. Bugatti's leadership argued persuasively that the extreme high-performance engineering and incredibly tight manufacturing tolerances absolutely demanded highly specialized controlled environments, precision tools, and extensive technical training simply unavailable to third-party repair facilities. This carefully constructed narrative positioned independent repairs not merely as technically infeasible, but as genuinely potentially dangerous, deliberately framing strict service restrictions as absolutely necessary protections for both vehicle owners and the vehicle's precious engineering legacy. The underlying message couldn't have been clearer. Trust only the factory-approved ecosystem, because anything else risks catastrophe. Behind the carefully polished public messaging, this restrictive approach also conveniently maintained substantial profit margins on spare part sales and ongoing service contracts. Bugatti's replacement parts pricing reflects both the genuine scarcity of limited production components and the company's complete control over supply chains. This manufactured exclusivity justified premium charges that wealthy buyers generally accepted without question as simply part of the substantial cost of owning a rare, limited production hypercar. Independent repair access directly threatened this highly profitable financial model by suggesting viable alternative avenues through which dedicated enthusiasts or skilled independent repair shops could potentially source necessary parts and successfully undertake complicated structural work for dramatically less money. The chief executive's categorical claims about repair impossibility created a powerfully persuasive narrative that effectively discouraged outside intervention while simultaneously reinforcing unquestioned corporate authority. For many years, this consistent messaging went largely unchallenged, leaving independent mechanics and ordinary consumers quietly resigned to complete factory dependence. It represented not merely a technical position grounded in engineering reality, but a calculated strategic defense of Bugatti's carefully cultivated brand mystique and enormously profitable aftermarket ecosystem. The company deliberately cultivated an aura of unassailable technical expertise and absolute control that perfectly matched its elite hypercar status and justified its premium positioning. Yet these polished corporate statements always contain fundamental questions that remain conveniently unanswered and carefully unexamined. Industry experts outside the manufacturer's influence increasingly believe that the supposedly impossible repair requirements actually serve primarily to restrict competition, while simultaneously enabling companies to charge dramatically inflated prices to their captive clients. The complex interplay between genuine profit motives and legitimate safety concerns created a deliberately murky situation that made it extremely difficult for outside critics to identify clear boundaries or challenge specific claims. Corporations strategically leverage their concentrated power to create exclusive access arrangements where business objectives consistently take precedence over genuine repair needs, educational transparency, and customer empowerment. Armstrong's impressive track record of systematically solving supposedly impossible problems directly proved he had completely dismantled the elaborate facade his corporate opponents had carefully constructed over years. His meticulous research revealed exactly how public statements fundamentally conflicted with actual underlying technical realities. The painstaking investigation forced observers to determine whether Bugatti's sweeping assertions were grounded in authentic engineering concerns or merely represented cynical defensive measures carefully designed to preserve their exclusive and highly lucrative service operations. This critical moment became an important catalyst for much wider public scrutiny of Bugatti's business practices and corporate rhetoric. As the conversation continued expanding outward, Armstrong's documented success fed directly into a much larger global debate with profound implications reaching far beyond Bugatti's factory walls. Armstrong's remarkable accomplishment has powerfully galvanized the international right to repair movement, which passionately advocates for consumers and independent repair shops' fundamental ability to access necessary tools, affordable replacement parts, and technical information required to repair their own purchased products. While this growing movement originally developed roots primarily in consumer electronics and agricultural equipment, Armstrong's exceptionally high-profile rebuild thrust this critical debate squarely into the luxury automotive sphere, where repair monopolies have long prevailed virtually unchallenged. His documented work dramatically revitalizes urgent calls for genuine transparency and meaningful consumer empowerment in an industry that has remained historically resistant to such external pressures. The direct challenge to Bugatti's entrenched control perfectly exemplifies much broader conflicts currently facing manufacturers worldwide across multiple industries. Many major companies actively restrict available repair options through software locks, intentionally limited parts distribution networks, or unnecessarily proprietary service requirements. These deliberate practices routinely force consumers into expensive factory-authorized repairs and systematically diminish healthy aftermarket competition. Armstrong's highly visible success in effectively circumventing these artificial barriers powerfully inspires both passionate enthusiasts and organized advocacy groups, convincingly demonstrating both the technical feasibility and fundamental fairness of independent repair access, even on cutting-edge machines representing the absolute pinnacle of automotive engineering. The broader impact reaches well beyond simple economics and personal convenience. It fundamentally touches on critical sustainability and responsible resource use. Enabling widespread independent repairs significantly extends product lifespans, dramatically reduces unnecessary waste, and importantly democratizes technical knowledge. In hypercars, which remain notoriously expensive and deliberately exclusive, this philosophical shift can translate into far more accessible ongoing maintenance and better long-term preservation of irreplaceable engineering marvels. The right to repair becomes not merely a matter of personal choice or financial savings, but a question of genuine environmental responsibility and collective technological stewardship. Industry players across the automotive sector now watch extremely closely as Armstrong's ambitious project continues gathering substantial global attention. Manufacturers increasingly face mounting pressure to carefully balance legitimate proprietary interests against growing public demands for greater openness and accessibility. Some forward-thinking companies have already begun cautiously loosening certain repair restrictions, clearly sensing that continued stubborn resistance may seriously backfire in an emerging era defined by radical transparency and intense social media scrutiny. The automotive aftermarket is decisively entering a transformative new era where unprecedented consumer influence may fundamentally reshape traditional manufacturer dominance that has existed virtually unchallenged for decades. The evolving narrative surrounding Armstrong effectively taps into much wider cultural themes of grassroots innovation, successfully challenging entrenched corporate gatekeeping. His consistently polite, unfailingly methodical approach rallies enthusiastic support from remarkably diverse audiences, including seasoned mechanical professionals, organized consumer advocates, and casual fans simply drawn to an underdog story. This compelling story perfectly exemplifies how modern digital platforms dramatically amplify individual voices, allowing determined individuals to directly confront massive corporations with completely unprecedented reach and influence. However, major manufacturers like Bugatti now face genuinely complex strategic choices with no easy answers. Rigidly maintaining repair exclusivity effectively guards established brand identity and protects existing revenue streams, but simultaneously risks seriously alienating customers and generating damaging negative publicity. Genuinely embracing repair openness can cultivate valuable goodwill and align corporate practices with contemporary consumer values, but may significantly dilute control and substantially reduce profits. Armstrong's successful rebuild dramatically sharpens these inherent tensions, meaningfully accelerating a fundamental debate every automaker must now seriously address. The expanding ripple effects of this high-profile challenge became even more apparent with an indirect, carefully timed response from Bugatti's corporate leadership. Shortly after Matt Armstrong's groundbreaking achievement went dramatically viral across social media platforms, Bugatti's parent company Rimac released what appeared on the surface to be a seemingly routine factory tour invitation that quickly drew sharp attention from observers. The professionally produced video enthusiastically invited automotive enthusiasts worldwide to visit the impressive Rimac campus, where the all-electric Rimac, never a Hypercar, and next-generation Bugatti Chiron prototypes are currently being built side by side under one roof. On the surface, this appeared to represent a genuinely transparent move designed to actively engage passionate fans and effectively promote cutting-edge technology. But the curious timing, released just days after Armstrong publicly and conclusively disproved Bugatti's long-standing claims, immediately transformed the invitation into a strategic message laden with corporate subtext. What makes this particular invitation genuinely unusual is how subtly yet effectively it shifts Bugatti's established public posture from staunch gatekeeper jealously guarding secrets to seemingly more open collaborator willing to share. Rimac actively encouraged anyone genuinely interested in personally witnessing their advanced manufacturing processes to formally apply for a guided tour. This diplomatic gesture, while remaining carefully indirect, clearly signals a possible willingness to cautiously open doors to passionate builders and dedicated independent professionals. It represents neither an outright concession nor a direct personal offer specifically to Armstrong, but certainly raises intriguing questions about the company's potentially evolving approach. Astute observers immediately noted that this particular video was strategically posted well outside any previously scheduled marketing campaign or major product launch. The striking coincidence of timing strongly suggested that Rimac was responding directly to significant pressure generated by Armstrong's rebuild in a carefully measured, highly image-conscious manner. Rather than publicly admitting any fault or acknowledging previous overstatements, the corporation appears to be cautiously extending a hand wrapped in layers of careful diplomacy, signaling conditional openness without suffering any loss of face. It represents a delicately crafted corporate move specifically designed to gradually shift the prevailing narrative without fundamentally disrupting previously established messaging. The knowledgeable automotive community rapidly recognized this communication for what it likely represented. Comment sections experienced massive surges in activity as people began actively interpreting the factory tour as a thinly veiled piece offering strategically designed to help the company gradually regain eroding trust while simultaneously managing increasing public backlash. Many astute observers believe the company was deliberately attempting to shift public opinion away from viewing them primarily as aggressively blocking repairs towards seeing them as genuinely welcoming customer enthusiasm. The company clearly established new brand messaging through this carefully orchestrated project, which ironically only gained significant attention because Armstrong's groundbreaking work had already captured the public imagination. The professionally produced video prominently showcased dedicated Rimac staff demonstrating their considerable engineering skills and genuine commitment to technological innovation through impressive high production values and detailed technical explanations. The content maintained rigorous professional standards throughout, yet nearly all viewer comments focused almost exclusively on Armstrong's ongoing rebuilding process, clearly illustrating the central credibility problem the company currently faces. The expensive promotional material showcasing genuinely advanced engineering features somehow failed to capture sustained public interest because audiences deliberately chose to focus primarily on the independent builder who had previously challenged the company's unchallenged authority. The carefully worded invitation from Rimac demonstrates the company clearly understands modern society, increasingly values open information sharing and authentic customer interaction as the most effective ways to build lasting trust, while closed operations and unnecessarily strict rules consistently lead to customer detachment and growing resentment. The factory tour effectively showcases genuinely advanced vehicle production methods, while simultaneously serving as a calculated demonstration of cooperative spirit and transparent business operations. The company keeps its invitation strategically open and nonspecific because it wants to carefully avoid direct personal contact with Armstrong, which provides him a convenient escape route if he chooses not to attend or if public criticism continues intensifying.